Welcome everyone to tonight's WPCA special meeting. It's Tuesday, November 29th, 7 o'clock. We have one item in front of us, so I will not ask if there's any proposed changes to the agenda. The item in front of us is to hear, consider, and act upon funding for the repair of the primary digester at the Water Pollution Control Facility of Fairfield. This was discussed at length in our last commission meeting, which was 10 days or so ago. I don't think we need a lot of background on the digester issue, but John, if you could tell us, I know the bid documents have just recently gone out, correct?
Yep, they went out on the 22nd and they'll be opened on the 15th of December.
Okay, so we don't know what the exact number is going to be, but do we have some? Do you have some kind of sizing of what we might be looking at here?
Talking with Dennis from Wright Pierce, the number we're going to go with is 1.5 million. That seems to be a reasonable amount. Again, it's a best guess with all the supply chain issues, and we don't know what we're going to get as far as bidding, but that's a number we feel comfortable with.
Okay, is that net of the insurance?
That is not taking into account the insurance money whatsoever.
Okay, so $1.5 million to repair it.
Right, and we've already got $1 million from the insurance, which will eventually get back into our fund anyway. So.
Okay. All right. Well, let's begin. Do we have a motion? Motion from Mr. Vice Chairman.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize $1.5 million to repair the primary digester. The repairs to include the removal of the damaged liner, repair and replace of the internal piping as necessary, replacement of the pressure valves and gauges, and the replacement of the damaged bolts that secure the 45-ton lid. The 1.5 million will be offset by 948,000 net insurance proceeds received to date, leaving a balance of $552,000. Any future insurance proceeds will be used to further reduce the repair costs, and all funding will be from WCPA fund balance.
Okay.
Second.
Second from Tom.
Yep.
Comments, questions from the commission?
Just two things. One, just in your motion, just for the record, it's WPCA. I think there's just a little bit of a misspeak there, but I lost my train of thought completely, so I'm gonna come back to it.
All right.
Wow.
A quick question clarification.
Right.
So if,
Oh, yeah, I remember.
oh, go ahead, Nancy.
Sorry. Do we need to make mention of the fact that this is up to that amount, or
That was going to be my question clarification too. So we're providing up to 1.5 million. And then obviously whatever the cost comes in, subtract out the insurance. And so if it comes out to 2.5 million, then we're covered because we've got $1 million from insurance already. Is that correct?
I think we still have to appropriate the other $1 million because we're spending money that's not technically budgeted, so to speak.
Yeah, so
I just wanted to understand what we're actually approving tonight. Like,
Yeah,
are we approving funding for 1.5 million?
we're approving up to,
Right.
recognizing that the bids are not going to be in for 16 days or so.
Right.
But in order to get this through the commissions that are meeting in the first week of December, we're kind of trying our best guess to size the amount so that we can get moving on this rather than wait for the bids to come in and then go to the commissions in January and not get started until February.
Right. So I guess to kind of clarify my question. So if bids come in at 1.5 million or less, then we're obviously covered.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, if they come in between 1.5 and 2.5,
Yeah.
are we covered by approving 1.5 million tonight, knowing that we have $1 million in insurance? And it sounds like based on the head shakes, I'm seeing the answer is no.
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 Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
The million is just to offset what we spent. It's just to
Right.
help sort of like pay us back, if you will.
Understood. Okay.
My question was more about clarifying that if a bid comes in at 900,000, we've approved the 1.5. Do we need clarifying language that says it won't exceed that amount? Or that it's, that we're approving, a cap expense of 1.5?
So the question is up to or not to exceed. Joe, I'm going to go to Joe.
I,
then I'm gonna go to
Mr.
Chris.
Chair, I'd like to amend my motion to authorize up to 1.5 million. That, I think the answer to your question, Nancy, is if the bid comes in at 2 million, we've got to go back to the boards. and get
Exactly.
Another 500,000, even if we're netting out the insurance.
Right.
But best guess with John talking to the various, and hi, John. And again,
Hi,
thank
Nancy.
you. Thank you so much for all of this, because it's been a lot of, I know, back and forth and managing not only the community's concerns, but the actual work. So thank you. This 1.5 though is based on best guesses and real thoughtful. It would be surprising. Is it fair to say that it would be surprising to you if it exceeds that 1.5?
Nothing surprises me these
Right.
days.
Well,
Chris.
I guess that's the only, oh, go ahead. Sorry, Chris.
Oh, I don't, Matt, go. You've been waiting.
I was just going to ask, given what John just said, how nothing would surprise, do we want to just approve up to 2 million
Right.
so that we can avoid potentially having to come back? Or, what are the thoughts in terms of the total number here?
Point. Or maybe this is a question for Joe or that, but do you have to approve a number, or can you approve the lowest qualified bid in the motion? Do you have to be?
The problem is we need to go to the boards before we get the bids.
But we need the appropriation from the board for the money, or can we just go to the boards and say, listen, we're gonna take the lowest qualified bid?
They have to approve an amount.
It has to be a specified amount.
Former.
Specified amount.
Okay.
I just feel that given the fact that this has been going on since April, that it's becoming of increased concern, the smell being an issue, this is something we know has to happen. It would be really unfortunate if we have another delay based on, it's 1.6.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think the understanding is that no one wants to spend $2 million on this, even though we have an offset of insurance money, even though, I just feel like if we've got to go to the number that we can stomach so that we can keep this ball rolling.
Mhm. Okay.
And 1.5, if nothing surprises John, then maybe we're not aiming high enough, at least just to get it approved. And again, nobody wants to spend more money than we have to.
And Nancy, in your opinion, would $2 million be too much for the board to approve?
I have no idea what the appetite is. It seems reasonable because I've been sitting in on these discussions and I understand what's at stake and I understand the timing. So to me, in good faith, would I say up to 2 million? I personally would be comfortable with that. I don't sit on the Board of Finance. I'm not the administration. So for the purposes of this conversation in this context, yes.
Go to Joe.
Okay, I just wanted to address Nancy and I guess Chris's issue. What happens is this is now going to be a public number as soon as it gets approved. And if we only get one bidder,
Mhm.
that bidder, we can obviously reject the bid and start all over again. But if we put up a number, and this is for the board, this is for our commission, if we put up a number of 2 million and we only get one bidder, what happened on that bid in August is the gentleman came to the purchasing department at 9 a.m. and he said, "Oh, is anybody else bidding on this contract?" The answer from them was no. It's all public information. At a few minutes to 11, he came in with a bid of 2.7 million, which was the cleaning and the repair. Now, we have a better idea of the repair side of it. But I mean, that, if you only get one bidder, that is the danger of sending the, establishing a number that is too high.
No, it's a great point.
Yeah,
So that's the
It's
issue.
surprised-
happened in the
I'm
past.
surprised they have to answer a question like that before bids. I mean, at least on the engineering side, we're not even allowed to talk to procurement prior to an RFP. Like,
Right.
actually.
this is a public hearing tonight.
Yeah,
You know,
and we can
Joe's
reject
absolutely
the
right.
bid. If only
That
one
was-
bid
that
comes
was-
in and it's $2 million, we can reject that bid.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a fair
That's
point.
what-
I guess process wise, sorry,
Nancy and then Tom.
process wise, Mark, Mr. Chairman, or if a bid comes in and it exceeds based on the work and it feels reasonable, but it exceeds that 1.5, can we then go into a special meeting? Like, what are the delay? I guess it's just delayed in the amount of time people can meet, correct? There's no, and maybe that's more of a question for you, John.
Yeah, we're kind of setting the framework, and then the the departments within the town are actually doing the negotiation.
But can I go back to my original question then for John? This 1.5 came from somewhere. And while nothing would surprise you, is that, why not then 1, given what Joe's just said? What is that 1.5 based on?
A best guess by an engineering firm that has done stuff like this in years past, and I'm not talking recent past, but it's hard to gauge on who's going to bid and what they're seeing for pricing as far as stainless steel pipe and concrete and crane rental and all that stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just.
So could I ask a follow-up question? Is there
Yeah,
anything-
Nancy, let me just say then, after your question, Tom's been waiting and Joe's been waiting.
Okay, so just to follow up to that then, is there any reason that we could do this in stages? Like, could we put out an even lower number for the first phase of repair? Could we do it in steps, or does it have to be a one?
I was told that if we approved 1.5 and the bids came in at 1.8 or whatever the number is, we could start the project with the 1.5 we had and then appropriate the rest of the money that was needed to meet the bid.
And well, then to that end, why not 1? Sorry, that's it. I won't ask more questions for now, but
My feeling is the 1.5 seems to be a reasonable guesstimate. That's the best I can do.
Tom, you're up.
Yeah, I was just going to say Joe's point is well taken. I mean, if the board approves 2 million and we put out the bid and people know what's been approved, I mean, we're essentially showing them our wallet. We don't want to do that. I think we want to go with the best number that we have, which appears to be 1.5 at this point in time. And then if as John says, if it comes in slightly higher, I don't think it's a tremendous process to get that increment improved. But if we make it known that we've approved 2 million, should we be surprised that all the bids come in at 2 million? Yeah, I mean, the contractor's going to leave any money on the table. I mean, that's how I would operate, and this has happened in the past.
Okay. Let me go to Joe and then Matt.
Okay, well, why don't you go to Matt? And then I was going to explain why I put in my motion those 4 pieces individually, which
Yep.
ties into what John was talking about, start the project if we need more money. But go to Matt, please.
Matt.
So, I mean, the scenario that Joe had explained of somebody coming in at like 10:59 and then submitting a bid that was due at 11. I mean, I have never heard of somebody being allowed to ask procurement how many bids were in. I mean, I don't think procurement should be answering those questions because it's not public information until bids close. I mean, their response should be, we cannot disclose how many bidders, bids haven't closed yet. And so I think that's a ridiculous situation. Like, I mean, we should not be disclosing how many bidders there are until the bids have closed. And then at that point, it's all public knowledge. But I mean, setting a not to exceed budget, I feel like that shouldn't be the that's what the number is. The whole point of having closed bids is for open competition. So I mean, yes, somebody can just bid up to that maximum. Chances are they shouldn't win because that's the most amount that we could spend without having to go back. That's, I mean,
Okay.
that's my understanding of the situation, but I'd never heard ever of the situation that Joe had explained what happened over the summer.
We're gonna go to Joe, then Nancy. John, let me ask you a quick question. How many bid packages went out? Do you know?
I don't know how many went out, no.
Okay, Joe,
There is a walkthrough on Thursday, I believe.
okay.
I just wanted to address Matt. The only reason I mentioned it, it did happen. And when I said who gave out that information, nobody would put forth a name for me.
Okay.
But I have a good inkling as to who put that out. And it probably wouldn't happen again. I was just pointing out it did happen.
Okay,
Okay.
Nancy.
I know that boards don't like to revisit more money. So I know that's something that we should be considering, that when we put in something, it needs to be based on best guess. But I want to go back to something I just asked a few minutes ago, which is if it's 1.5 and then if the amount is 1.5 and it exceeds it by a few $100,000, is there a threshold, like a threshold on the low end that we could do that, where we could start, so that we're not getting into a situation that Joe described, so that, you know, is there a reason that we're not doing the amount of the insurance, for instance, for the 900,000? Starting with that and then going back once we actually get the, so we can start.
I mean, my one comment on that is just that, I mean, in my experience, contractors don't bid based on the number that was approved for finance. They bid to try to win the job. They have to do the lowest amount where they think they'll win, but still make money. And so I don't think that they're paying, I mean, they shouldn't be paying attention to what we're approving because we're not bidding on the job.
I brought it up as something to consider. If that's, you know, not the case, I think Joe did make a great point to not exceed a certain amount. But
Okay, I'm gonna go to Chris, and then I'm gonna see if there's any public comment. Chris.
Sorry, I got printer going. I agree with I agree with Matt there, is that I would hope that, I think things are slowing down a little bit too, so I think people are looking for more jobs. But I would highly hope that all of our departments don't disclose how many bidders are there first. That's, I think, unethical for a corporation to do that. And second, I'd like not to go back to the finance board and maybe split the difference between 1.5 and 2 and do 1.750. So at least maybe we get a little bit more wiggle room. So at least we're a little bit closer if we're a little questionable on 1.5. That's all I had.
Thanks, Chris. Is there any, John Clancy, were there any comments sent to you before the meeting?
No,
No
not
comments
as,
beforehand?
not as of lately.
Okay,
Excuse me, just the odor and everything.
okay, gotcha. Is there any public comment? There used to be a little hand raise option, but I don't see that. Yes. Christine.
Hi, thank you. Christine Brown, I'm the RTM representative from District 9. John, you don't know how many bids went out. Do you have any sense of how many bidders there will be ultimately?
I can't say. I'm hoping more than one, like last time, but I can't say. The positive note here is that the cleaning has been done, so there's no guesswork, and it kind of opens up to a, I don't want to use this word, but non-specialized type contractor, because they can look in the tank, they can see what they have to do. It's pipe work, it's concrete work, so I'm hopeful there's more than one, and I don't know. I'm hoping 3 or 4, but
Okay. And do we know how long the repair is going to take, or will we not know that till we get the bids back?
I don't even know if we'll know when the bids get back. But once we do award it to a contractor, I think they'll have a good handle on what they have to do and how long it's going to take.
And in terms of the odor for the people who live near there, do you anticipate that the odor will get worse while the repair is going on, or
No.
better,
No.
stay the same?
I'm hoping for the better. I've got a new chemical coming to try and combat it. So the cleaning is done, so that the odor from that is going away, and my nose is telling me it's getting a little bit better, but my nose is a little less sensitive than everybody else's. But to me, it seems to be getting better, and that's my hope. So
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, good evening. This is Bill Perugini calling. Some of you I know. For those who I don't, I'm a 22-year resident of Fairfield Beach Road and part of the leadership of two community organizations, the Fairfield Beach Residents Association and the Pine Creek Association. And I can tell you that multiple members of both of those organizations have expressed their dissatisfaction with these noxious odors. I recall, for those of you who have been around town for as long as I have, bringing this to the attention of Rich White back in the day when I first moved to Fairfield Beach Road. And I've multiple messages to Joe Michelangelo and Brian Carey and the more recent leadership of the Department of Public Works. I would encourage you to do whatever you must to fix this problem. It's disgusting. It's horrible. It's horrendous. My nose has been broken multiple times. I don't smell well, but I certainly can smell this horrible foul odor. And sometimes it's worse than others. Again, I recognize the cost of the fix, and I'm very conservative with the town's finances. But this needs to be done as soon as possible because people are very unhappy. And it's not a pleasant environment to be in. So I would encourage you to do whatever you must to remedy this situation as soon as possible.
Great. Thank you, Bill. Anyone else? Yes. Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura Carson. I'm on the RTM in District 4, not in the Beach District, but I've been learning a lot about this and I just need a little clarification. I heard there's going to be air testing. Has that been done? Do we know
not
that?
yet. Not yet.
And why not? What are we waiting for? Because I'm sure people are worried that even though I've been told you can only it could be dangerous when you have actual contact with poop, but not necessarily breathing it in. But people do get paranoid and maybe feel that maybe it's noxious when you breathe in that smell day in, day out. And I'm worried that why isn't there air testing being done immediately, ASAP? Like we've learned from 9/11, people were told, oh, the air is safe, air is safe. People went in and day out to clean it out. And now they're all suffering from cancers and this and that. So I'd hate for that to happen. So I just like to play it safe. And I just want to know if anyone were to ask why there's not air testing done yesterday and how long does that take to get results, and will people, just to assuage people's fears, because people get nervous and I understand.
We had to go through the process of getting bids, or not getting bids, but getting pricing and scope of work from whoever wanted to do the work. They are starting testing around the plant on Friday. That's be the first step, and then they're gonna broaden out as they go.
And as of today, do we know that it's safe, or we don't know it's safe?
I've been running portable gas meters at the plant for the past week and a half, and they measure hydrogen sulfide, oxygen deficiency, carbon monoxide, and LEL, and they have all been 0. And we're at ground zero. We've got it in the hallway. I've got it in my office. I've got it everywhere. So,
is there any way to get this out to the beach area residents? Somebody put out some sort of email so people know this, that at least while you're waiting for air testing, that you see the readings are safe, and just to assuage their fears. And can we get that out to them? I don't know.
I've been talking to Sands. I know they're getting something together to send out.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Bateson, welcome back.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
It's so nice to see some of these faces again. I missed you all so much.
We missed you.
I just want to chime in. When it comes to dollars like this, I always get nervous. I got to tell you, I've been following this project for years. I'm a longtime resident. my grandmother Reef Road, 50 years I've been in the neighborhood. What's been going on there the past couple of months? I was just down there on Sunday. It really bothered me. It really did. So I know in the chairs you sit in, you're trying to be, you know, good stewards of the public finances, but there are certain times when I was there this Sunday, I mean, the smell, it really bothered me. I'm concerned about the health and welfare of the residents. I'm really concerned about the health and welfare of our employees down there. I understand you going slow and, you know, with the 1.5, you don't want to shoot too high, but I got to tell you guys, I'm in your corner on this. When this comes before the RTM, RTM District 1, I'm all for fast tracking projects of this style. If you guys, I appreciate you holding this special meeting. It shows your dedication to be flexible in meeting. I'm all behind this. Whatever you got to do to solve this problem. If it's 1.5 million, if it's 2 million. I mean, I'll go on the floor of the RTM and say, you know, I was down there. It was horrible. This needed to be done. No matter what we got to do, we got to fix this problem. I mean, it's really that bad. I don't have to tell you guys. And, you know, to John and you guys down there, good luck with everything. And Mark, thanks for staying on top of this. And whatever you guys need, I'll be there for on the RTM. Thank you.
We appreciate that, Ed. Nancy, before I go back to you, let me see if there's any other public comment. Okay, that wraps up the public. You're on.
Can I just say, I'm in agreement with Ed Bateson on the RTM. I would fast track this too. It is a terrible thing. So I'm in agreement. I would be happy to just get the number down so we can get this going.
Great, thank you, Laura. Okay, so we're gonna go, so that, well, that's it for the public comment. Thank you for that public comment. It's great to have public involved tonight. We're gonna go to Nancy and then to Ron Drew.
And I just want to say for the record, I also see Margaret Horton, who represents District 9 from the RTM, who raised her hand in agreement with that support. So, and I just want to reiterate, there's no, I know we're not, or I don't know if we're supposed to comment directly to public comment, but there's no drag or delay on the WPCA part. In fact, that's why we're having this special meeting. And I think the conversation tonight, we just want to make sure we're making the most thoughtful decision. It's not that we're going to walk away and drag it out. Something broke and we responded. So I think in terms of messaging getting out, I think, you know, and I'm wearing my Board of Selectmen hat also, I think it's important for people to email the administration and ask them for updates in the newsletter and through every channel that is available to the first select person. So if you could send those emails, I encourage the public to ask for those updates. But there is no delay. I heard of the smell issue only a few weeks ago, but you know, we've been working, and I shouldn't even say royal we, John Bodie and his team, and they've been working tirelessly to solve this. So I just want to negate any suggestion of either this group or the crew down there delaying, because we recognize the urgency and the importance of it. So any discussion tonight about what makes most fiscal sense is really because we want to do it right, but not because we will skimp out.
Okay, well said.
That's mine.
Okay, thanks, Nancy. Ron Drew.
Okay, hi, Howard. Ed, good to have you back.
That was nice, wasn't it? Did he leave?
Yeah.
No, he's still there.
Long time no see.
Yeah.
Okay, my only comment would be, you know, it's the finance side. Joe's done a terrific job of putting it all together there. And John has done a great job of getting the team together and getting ready to go here. My point is this cannot delay. This cannot keep moving on and on and on to special meetings and whatever. We got to get moving, because all of a sudden you're going to find out, did the trains go on strike? If so, the material could be sitting on a train someplace for months. So you need to also think about the materials that you're going to need to do the project, and are they going to be available? And if not, what's the turnaround time? So that's kind of my only comment here. So it's not just money.
Thank you, Ron. I actually, let me sneak a question in, and then I'm going to go to Joe. And John, my question to you is, to me, there's two components of this. There was a digester, primary digester that broke, and the workaround, and we were going through a process to fix that. But it seems like the smell really escalated when you got some advice to put a chemical in to knock down in the secondary digester, and that really created the noxious smell.
We went 180. Yeah.
Yep. So that amped it up. So that's not a broken digester issue. That was a bad recommendation of a chemical. How do we get comfortable that these new chemicals on the horizon don't do the same thing?
We got a free sample from the company. They sent it to us. We ran it through our sludge. We mixed it. We dosed it. We agitated it. We did everything we could to it to see what the reaction would be. And the only reaction was less smell.
Okay.
So they sent out a couple. They're sending out 4 barrels today. Should have it here hopefully by the end of the week.
Okay.
And we're gonna go cautious. Believe you me.
Go slow.
Yep.
Joe, thank you.
Yes, Mark, I was just going to ask John to go through the same logic. What's happening is, John, if you would explain with the chemicals and I guess the fan up above, but more importantly, digester 1 is cleaned out. I think if you explain to everybody, digester 1's cleaned out, possibly the smell came from the use of chemicals, as Mark just talked about. That sludge, that product is sitting over at Denali. It takes how long for that smell through the process to go away now? Even if we don't touch the digester. I'm not saying we're not going to.
Right.
But
the sludge that was impacted by the chemical has to go through the compost building, which takes 21 days.
Right.
So we stopped dosing on the 9th. So let's just say it's going to take 21 days is the normal time. With weekends, it goes a little longer. So within another 5 days, all of it should be out of the compost and sitting across the street. When it sits across the street, it's in a pile. It doesn't get agitated. It doesn't get moved. So it shouldn't. So hopefully once we get it through the compost, it gets over there, we should start lowering the odor amount.
Right. So your point is within another 10 days or so, that process, that compost.
Yes, it should be out of there and
should
be
be out of there, and we should get an improvement in the smell.
That's my hope. Yes.
Without touching the digester, because the digester is offline right now.
Correct.
Thank you. I just wanted you to explain that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Ed, good seeing you. Bill, good seeing you again.
Okay, so we have a motion. Yeah. We have a motion in front of us for $1.5 million. I'm sensing that there's a interest in increasing that to $1.75 million. This is where I miss the in-person meetings. I can't. You don't get the vibe that. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I get a thumbs up. Okay. Couple thumbs up. Okay.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm good with
Joe,
that.
do you want to amend that motion? Joe.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to amend our motion to authorize up to 1.75 million to repair the primary digester. Repairs to include the removal of the damaged liner, replacement of the internal piping, replacement of the pressure valves and gauges, and the replacement of the damaged bolts on the 45-ton lid. The 1.75 million will be offset by 948,000 net insurance proceeds received to date, leaving a proceeds received to date period. All future insurance proceeds will be used to further reduce the repair costs. All funding will be from WPCA fund balance.
Second from Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
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 So Joe, second from Matt. All in favor. Okay. This has been a time-consuming process, an important process for many of us. I appreciate everyone, again, plugging in tonight. I suspect we'll revisit aspects of this in our December meeting. I thank everyone for joining us, everyone from the public for joining us. And if there's a motion to adjourn, I'll accept that. Motion from Matt, second from
Nancy.
Nancy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Good night, everyone. Thank you.